Well, I'm here with Steve Psaradellis from TEBA. How are you, Steve?
Not too bad, Justin. How are you?
Good. So I want to wrap with you a little bit about the project that we've just completed with you, and talk to you about why you did it and how it's all turned out for you. So I guess a good starting point is if you can describe the situation before you engaged with ballistics and what caused you to talk to us in the first instance.
Yeah, sure, Justin. Before we spoke with you guys, we basically did what everybody else does, that we had salespeople on board that would do basically everything, all the way from prospecting, and then they would go and try and write proposals, follow customers up, make appointments, and the usual thing, also handle sort of customer service issues. So when we started speaking to you guys, we realised there was a better way, and the reality was that our salespeople were not doing much selling at all. So over the years, we've gone through quite a few salespeople, but at the end of the day, there was nothing wrong with the salespeople. It was more of the way we engaged them.
So I guess if for people listening in, it's a fairly common complaint. You have salespeople, and they're busy, but there's not a lot of selling that actually gets done.
Yeah, that's right. Hardly any selling. So most salespeople we've had on board would do everything but sell most of the time. But that's the reason that their time was just taken up with other things. Okay,
so we got together and we spent a day planning. It was a busy day. We were in the middle of your office and there were people milling around, but we put together a plan. Do you remember what the primary components of that plan were? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, well, the plan was to basically divide up the different tasks that people have to do amongst different people. So instead of getting the salespeople to do everything, as I described earlier, you guys suggested that we needed to create a couple of new positions at a minimum, one of them being the sales coordinator that would take care of all the planning, the sales pipeline, booking meetings, and actually scheduling the salespeople. As well as another new position we created, which was the project leader position, which was something that we used to basically bridge the gap between sales and production.
Yeah, so we had this, I guess, 3 or 4 basic divisions. There was salesperson, project leader, sales coordinator, and I think customer service too.
Yeah, customer service here, we separated it out to our customer service area. So we took that away from sales, basically.
Okay. Actually, before we talk about the transition, I forgot to mention at the outset, do you want to tell our listeners or viewers what business you're in?
Yeah, basically at TEBA, we actually help companies that have multiple locations to be able to link their IT systems and all work off a central system. That's basically what we do. Okay,
so obviously you went through a process where you pieced all those pieces together. You added Kelly, who's a sales coordinator. Now, I think you want to tell us who became the salesperson. What was the story there?
Yeah, okay. After a little consultation with your people and yourself, I think it was decided that myself would become one of the salespeople.
And you were reluctant about that?
I was a little bit reluctant to become full-time sales because I do have other duties in the organisation. But to my surprise, to be able to do that, it actually took a lot less of my time than I expected. And given that we've got the sales coordinator position who handles all the coordination, basically, I'm simply left to turn up to appointments and sell.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and that's a point that I think a lot of people don't get until they experience it. Once you take away all of the opportunity management, all of the clerical, you're left with a very small number of very high-value activities.
That's right. I mean, we sat down and worked out that our people were spending about 5% of their time selling. And at the moment, I'm literally spending a little bit more than that and getting through all the sales calls. So we're extremely efficient at the moment.
Okay, so you have Kelly, who's your sales coordinator. She's been with you a while now. You've taken the role of salesperson. And what happened where project leadership was concerned?
Yeah, project leadership, we allocated that to Craig in the organisation, who's has sales capabilities, but he's more technical. So Craig actually takes over where I finish off, which means that if I'm talking to a customer...
This is Craig with the Citrix tattoo.
Yeah, that's right, Justin. Yeah, Craig loves his Citrix, and when he was up in the States at the conference, they were handing out tattoos, so he brought a whole bunch of them back with him.
So the project leader function is working. Has it enabled you to decouple sales from delivery?
Basically, yes, but the project leader is focused on the sales side of it, bottom line. So when it comes to the delivery, it's actually quite easy because Craig's already involved. He can go to the production side, the delivery side, and he can keep managing the project, basically. There's continuity there. There's no breakup between sales and production.
Okay, so you have the key components in place. Sales you're doing, but it's just a small number of high-value appointments. You've got Kelly in place managing sales opportunities. She's going very well by all accounts. And you've got
Absolutely.
Craig in the project leadership role, and I think there weren't major changes where customer service is required. Can you talk to us about, now that all the infrastructure is in place and working, can you talk to us about how things look now?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, as a business for the last 10 years, we actually, as well as doing the systems I mentioned earlier, we actually sell customer relationship management systems. However, I could safely say for the last 10 years, I could not sit in front of the system and tell you that every single opportunity was up to date in the system and we knew exactly where everything stood. What's happened now with Kelly being the sales coordinator, I can go to the system at any day, at any time, and know exactly what's going on in that pipeline. Right from deals that we're working on right now to renewals and things that we've got to do in 12 months' time. So it's absolutely fantastic. We can see everything that's going on and we're very organised.
And you're having weekly sales meetings?
We're having the weekly sales meetings. They go between 20 minutes and an hour, depending on how much extra analysis we do on the sales pipeline. But the good thing is we walk out of that meeting and we know exactly what's going on with every opportunity.
Okay, so having data is nice, but having sales is better. Has any of this work had any impact on sales?
Yes, absolutely. So as part of the overall program, we increased our marketing activities to actually get people to come along to events. And that's something Kelly has done very well, to actually get people along to those events. And in the last one we did, we filled it with two times 20 people, which is pretty good for what we did demonstrate. And out of that, we actually landed a deal that is close to $300,000, which we're about to start the project.
Okay, good. And is there indication that, well, from your perspective, is this sustainable? The infrastructure that we've built, if you keep turning the handle and conducting your weekly sales meetings to monitor the performance of the system as a whole, can you continue to crank out regular sales?
Well, what's interesting is that we've actually got some spare capacity at the moment. So, yes, we can keep cranking it, but we can put more work into the system. So I've now got more time than I've ever had, so I've got a lot of spare time for more appointments.
Okay. And you can generate those appointments without major problem?
Yeah, well, that's where we're working on the marketing aspect, where we're getting people along to events. And the great thing is that a lot of people will run an event and then not do much with it. But given we have the sales coordinator here, every single person's followed up and we get an appointment with most of them.
Okay. So what have you learned out of the process?
Well, basically, and we had to learn this the hard way, is that it's not worth getting everyone to do everything. Really splitting up the roles and everyone knowing exactly what their job is and doing that job well is a much better way to run. Unfortunately, a couple of months ago, we actually had to cut back our sales team. So we did have other salespeople. Currently, I'm doing the whole lot with ease.
Yeah, and I guess when you reach the point where you don't want to do it anymore, it's going to be quite easy for you to hand it off, because the sales role now is very simple.
That's right. Absolutely simple.
You need a gifted person, but the role itself is relatively simple.
Yeah, well, all I'm doing in sales is other people are booking my appointments for me. I'm turning up. I call the sales coordinator. She types in all the details in the CRM, books the next appointment. Life couldn't be easier.
Well, that's great, and I guess it goes without saying there's no one in your organization who wants to turn the clock back and put things the way they were previously.
Oh, absolutely not. No, we're never going back there.
Well, it's great to hear. Thank you for agreeing to talk to us, Steve.
Thanks, Justin.
All the best.